Section 4. Empowering children to act on climate change through education. Section 4 focuses on the empowerment of children and young people through education. In doing so, it also introduces international initiatives supporting climate change education, as well as examples of relevant strategies and activities promoted in different countries. The section concludes by presenting climate actions advanced by young people in the areas of adaptation, mitigation, knowledge and experience sharing, and leadership. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. Climate change is increasingly recognised as an emerging crisis requiring radical and immediate action. While children are among the most vulnerable, they need not be considered passive or helpless victims. Through education, projects and action, children can contribute to every aspect of climate change policymaking, mitigation and adaptation. Furthermore, today's children are tomorrow's business leaders, decision makers and consumers. Children are therefore powerful agents of change. Climate Change Education, CCE. CCE is a part of Education for Sustainable Development, ESD, promoting the knowledge, skills, attitudes and values necessary to shape a sustainable future. Its importance has been highlighted at the international level and included in international climate agreements, such as in Article 6 of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, and Article 12 of the Paris Agreement. Integrating climate change in education. Formal education, non-formal education, informal education. Formal, non-formal and informal education are the most common means by which societies prepare their youth for the future. It is important that climate change is integrated and upscaled across the three. Formal education. Education acquired through organised and structured programmes delivered via schools and other providers and recognised by means of qualifications. Non-formal education. Education acquired through organised programmes or courses, but not typically recognised by means of qualifications, does not typically lead to certification. Informal education. Education acquired outside organised programmes and courses through daily activities relating to work, family, community, gender relations, leisure, entertainment, sport and recreation. Climate change in formal education. Climate change integrated in education, legislation and policies, sector plans and budgets, school curricula and examinations, training and teaching materials for teachers, learning environments, school governance. On any given day, more than 1 billion children go to school. To educate them on climate change, it is important to incorporate the subject in all aspects of the formal education system. Common strategies include reviewing the curricula with information relevant for local adaptation, preparing teachers with appropriate content and pedagogical approaches, and making schools climate-proof and a model of sustainability with provision of key services such as clean water and hygiene. Following child-friendly education principles, schools should operate in the best interests of the child. The One UN Climate Change Learning Partnership, UN Learn and UNESCO's Climate Change Education for Sustainable Development Programme are two examples of UN initiatives that contribute to supporting countries in integrating climate change in their national education systems, providing guidance and assistance to governments, as well as support for teachers' training and schools' activities. Climate change in non-formal education. Non-formal education can complement formal schooling systems and play a key role in the overall education of children, especially adolescents and out-of-school youth. To be effective, it is important to develop appropriate activities, train educators, and provide them with suitable materials. After-school activities offering various opportunities for children to engage with climate change include youth camps, field trips, and action projects within their communities. Non-formal education also includes vocational education and the development of livelihood skills related to the environment, which enhance both youth's environmental awareness and their future employability. The slide shows examples of initiatives and resources provided by the UN system that can support non-formal educational activities on climate change. The world's largest lesson aims to increase awareness of global goals for sustainable development in every school on the planet. Comic books from the initiative, Comics Uniting Nations, such as Chakra the Invincible and the climate series HippoWorks, Simon Says Save, support the content adaptation for the learning process. The Youth and United Nations Global Alliance, YUNGA, pronounced younger, Climate Change Challenge badge provides educators and youth leaders with information, a curriculum and practical activities to inform young people about climate change and to empower them with ideas for action. Climate change in informal education. Informal education on climate change is received through daily activities and experiences, including interaction with family, friends, colleagues, and community members, as well as through the media and awareness campaigns. It includes the acquisition of life skills, such as learning to swim, that are important in the context of climate change. The slide shows examples of global initiatives aimed at raising children's and youth's awareness of climate change and at recognizing their efforts to innovate and find sustainable solutions, which could also be of inspiration to other young people. There is a new UN campaign encouraging young people to step up their climate actions through the involvement of the mobile game characters Angry Birds. The Food and Agriculture Organization's FAO's video and poster competitions for children enhance their understanding of the strong links between climate change, food and agriculture. UNICEF's video. Innovations Hubs. The UNICEF-supported Green Innovations Hub competition is a platform to turn promising ideas from young people and school children on renewable and sustainable energy into practical solutions. The UNFCCC-supported Momentum for Change initiative recognises innovative and transformative solutions that address climate change. Leaving no one behind in climate change education. promoting girls' access to education, incorporating Indigenous knowledge and learning systems, providing young refugees with livelihood skills in a changing climate, taking into account the learning needs of people with disabilities. As children and youth are not a homogeneous group, it is important to make sure all their rights and different needs are considered when designing and promoting climate change education. This is particularly important to those groups of children in vulnerable situations who will be disproportionately affected by climate change. Putting climate change education into practice. Examples of different activities for the promotion of climate change education worldwide. Formal education. The government of Bulgaria encouraged every school in the country to acquaint students with the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. As a result, more than 17,000 students in over 1,000 schools learned about key issues related to the environment and climate change. The Dominican Republic launched a national climate change learning strategy, which includes a framework for the design of quality education processes. Climate change training programs for 3,000 teachers and 200 university professors have also been set up. The government of Vanuatu is reviewing its educational system, including the curriculum, to include cross-curricular components of climate change and DRR. Disaster and climate change education materials and teachers' guides have also been developed. In Ethiopia, 50,000 school children have been involved in planting 50,000 trees. Climate change education was also introduced through lessons and environmental clubs in over 500 schools. Furthermore, 2,812 teachers have been trained to support environmental science lessons and club activities. Non-formal education. In Guatemala, high school students aged between 14 and 18 years old exchanged their views and experiences on climate change with other young students in Costa Rica, Panama, and the Dominican Republic via video conference. Unemployed young people were trained and offered full-time jobs in manufacturing and assembling bamboo bikes at a specialised factory in Ghana, which also serves as a training centre. In Macedonia, young people were trained to act in favour of biodiversity protection and reducing the negative effects of climate change. In Costa Rica, 320 children and young people undertook sustainability activities spearheaded by celebrity ambassadors. The initiative was focused on food security, climate change, and biodiversity conservation. Informal education. To enable children and adolescents to survive and stay safe in the face of chronic flood disasters associated with the changing climate, young people in Bangladesh are encouraged to take swimming lessons. In Brazil, the government supports local communities to manage pluviometers, to monitor and collect data while sensitizing them to climate change. As children better understand the causes and impacts of climate change, they will be better able to plan for and respond to climate change. Children and youth act on climate change adaptation. Young people build barriers to limit soil erosion in Xai-Xai City, Mozambique. With support from UNEP, the Municipal Council of Xai-Xai in Mozambique designed adaptation techniques to assist citizens in adapting to soil erosion resulting from higher and more erratic rainfall. The project aimed at helping communities to acquire knowledge on how to adapt to climate change challenges, as well as to understand the future potential impacts of climate change. Young people were at the forefront of this project. Youth groups helped to construct barriers, which halted soil erosion and improved soil fertility in the area, leading to higher agricultural production. Furthermore, masonry skills acquired by the young people involved led to the development of a local block-making industry, opening up new employment opportunities. Children and Youth Act on Climate Change Mitigation. High school students promote biodiesel produced from used vegetable oil in Barbados through a Global Environment Facility supported project to raise awareness among young people on the use of biodiesel as an environmentally friendly alternative to diesel. The members of the Environmental Club of Lester Vaughan Secondary School in Barbados collected used vegetable oil from their homes and communities. This was then sent to an appropriate entity to produce biodiesel. As a result of the project, 3,943 litres of oil were collected, which would have otherwise been disposed of in an environmentally unfriendly manner. A total of 3,154 litres of biodiesel was produced and used to fuel diesel vehicles, resulting in the reduction of approximately 6,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions. Furthermore, students learned more about climate change and renewable energy and were able to earn a significant income to expand their climate actions. Children and Youth Act on Climate Change. Sharing the message. Amerindian children in Guyana sensitized children abroad to rainforest protection. Central Guyana's Amerindian populations act as primary custodians for the country's extensive rainforest, which makes an important contribution to absorbing carbon emissions. To ensure continued protection of forests, a UNICEF-supported child-to-child educational program engages with and empowers Amerindian children as stewards of the rainforest region. As a result, Amerindian children share their knowledge and experiences with children in the developed world, sensitizing them to forestry and climate change. Children and Youth Act on Climate Change. Taking the lead. Young climate ambassadors in Zambia reach out to 1 million children, young people and community members. Through the Unite for Climate initiative, UNICEF has been equipping young people in Zambia with knowledge and advocacy skills to help them to be leaders on climate change. This child-led advocacy program empowers 11 to 17-year-olds to become climate ambassadors. They go on to inspire thousands of children through peer-to-peer outreach and education, media programs, debates, advocacy efforts, and implementation of low-cost community projects on climate change adaptation and mitigation. From creating a plan to build a floating school in areas where flooding restricts school attendance every year, to hosting radio programs and theatre performances that address climate change, over 1,000 ambassadors are putting their training into action and reaching more than 1 million community members through their efforts. To learn more, United Nations Joint Framework Initiative on Children, Youth and Climate Change. Further information on initiatives and activities supporting children and youth to take action on climate change is available through the United Nations Joint Framework Initiative on Children, Youth and Climate Change, gathering UN entities, non-governmental organisations and youth organisations for the empowerment of young people.